Ta-da! Ta-da! Welcome everybody to another edition of Lawn Photography with Duck.
Lost audio. Lost audio.
Oh no! What? Lost audio?
The semaphore flags.
Okay, hold on. What? There we go. How's that?
That's right.
Jeez.
You're back. I'm on my phone. I'm on my phone because I can't get anything else to work.
Yeah, that's. We'll blame Alan. It's his fault. Since Alan and Bill decided to play hooky and or no.
No, Bill did. He had other commitments.
Oh, well, he drop named you and there saying you went up to Broadbrook. Where was it? You know,
he was in Manchester, and he let me know that from Manchester he was on his way to East Windsor. So I quickly got dressed, stopped at Dunkin' Donuts, and met him up there. Luckily, he got lost for a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
Gave me a little bit of extra time to get there. But yeah, we had a good time, and then the Eagles were doing their Eagle thing.
nice.
And then he and I were talking to several other photographers there. And he ended up going down to across the river, across the Connecticut River, back in Windsor Locks.
Right.
And he was going to walk the. He was going to check out the Windsor Locks Canal Trail that's down there. And I didn't know where the Eagle's nest was, but the other photographers did. And I'm not sure what he saw there, but I did see that post that he put up of that one particular eagle.
Right. So you didn't want to go with him, or
I can't walk that far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's the walkie part.
Yeah. So
leaning up against my car is my speed.
Yeah, I hear you. So I actually was thinking of you today, Alan. I spent the day up in Pomfret today, assisting a buddy of mine doing some architectural photography. We went up to the Pomfret Public Library. And at one point, we were outside photographing the front of the library because they put on this, this huge addition to it. So we're standing in the front of the library, shooting the front, and over the building, just a couple 100 feet up.
Yep.
There's a beautiful eagle flying around. And I'm like, man, where's Alan when you need him with his lens? It's like right there, right? So anyway, I was thinking of you, so I'm sure your ears were ringing.
They probably were.
All right, let me just take care of a couple house cleaning things. If anybody is interested, if you know of any photographer that just bought themselves a new camera and is looking to learn how to use it, I am going to be doing a couple of photo walks with Milford Photo coming up. The first one is going to be June 6th, so there's still time to register. I think I've already had a couple of people sign up, so I have a feeling because the weather's nice and these classes tend to fill up fairly quickly. So if you know anybody with a brand new camera, they want to learn how to use it, just let them know that I'll be doing a photo walk with Milford Photo. Send them to the Milford Photo meetup page or Milford Photo's website. There's links there as well. And then the follow-up one's going to be in August 8th. Also, if you know any new photographers in the Torrington, Litchfield County, Thomaston, Harwington, Berlin area, I'll be doing a 5-week workshop with Advanced Ed, the adult education program, up in that area, up in Thomaston. So if anybody's interested in a beginner's workshop, just send them to the Advanced Ed website, adult education. I'll be doing something there in September. I don't have the date yet. As soon as I get it, I'll post it here. But anyway, these two are definitely set in stone. So we'll be going in. All right. As for today's class, as I said, I had to work today with a friend of mine. I rushed back and I got in literally, with 10 minutes to get things set up and operational. So again, I'm unprepared and I apologize. So we can either do Q&A. So if anybody has any questions, any issues, anything that they're having problems with. Otherwise, the other thing that I thought of was to go into some preset stuff. How to build proper presets in Lightroom. Because I know we haven't covered that in a while. Or if there's anything, that you want me to review from the last couple of weeks, where we did, stuff with custom brushes, stuff with textures, or anything like that. So I'm game for whatever you guys want to do. All right. Or we can just,
I got get my audio on. Excuse me. What I've been thinking about in terms of the presets, because I remember the last time we did this, I made a bunch, but I haven't really had the opportunity to touch them. And I remember seeing this one demo or something where the fellow was just he was making presets for printing for almost on the fly or for very a lot of different outputs at once, I guess. Even
Okay. Yep.
With that one you can set up so you can do three things at once with a one printout.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, we can do that. Okay.
And I guess a very specific one. Because I got half of mine set up to do it a certain way, and the other half don't. But typically when I get it set up, I press a button, and it goes or I highlight which preset I'm going to use, and then I press the button, and then it brings up this page where I have to fill in some information about what I want the name of the file to be and that type of thing.
Okay.
Some of them I can just press the next button and it will create them, but sometimes I have to select the parent folder.
Correct.
And I'm going, I don't want to, I mean, they all have the same parent folder. It's just I haven't figured out how I set it the first time so that I wouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Or how do I fix it so I can, the ones that I do have to do it, I don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah, I feel your pain on that part, and I wish that Adobe would fix that issue with the parent folder things, and I have a suggestion for an easy fix for them to implement, but of course they probably don't listen to me. Every time they send me one of those survey forms, I'm always writing in there my suggestions. So, but anyway, got you covered. So let's switch over. Let's switch over to Lightroom. All right. So let's say I got these three train photos, and I want to be able to send them out to not send them out. I want to export them out for 3 different uses, and I want to do it all in one shot. That's kind of what you're saying, right?
Right.
All right.
Well, since I started talking, I can interrupt again.
No, that's good.
I went to the Shelton garage sale a couple weeks ago. Remember that? Did you hear about that?
No.
Shelton garage. Anyway, people all over town set up tag sales. I
Nice.
call them tag sales, right? Anyway, I bought a load of picture frames.
Oh, yeah?
So I a little picture framing project. So, but I noticed a lot of them are, by 7, 4 by 6. So I'm going to go back through and, find pictures to fill up those frames.
Right.
So it'd be handy when I come to them that I go, okay, I want this one to be a 4 by 6 and a 5 by 7, and so I'll be actually needing to do that pretty soon.
Okay. All right. The neat thing about I don't know how crafty you are, but when you have like a whole array of like different styles of frames and stuff, if you spend a little time in kind of like arranging them, and then once you have them arranged, mark it in place so that you can reproduce that arrangement, and then either hot glue or super glue or staple from the back all these frames together so that it creates one big frame, or not one big frame, but one big unit with a bunch of little stuff. And then you just put your, a bunch of random photos in there, and then you pick it up as one unit, and you can just hang it up, on a couple of nails without having to, do each frame independently. I've seen that, in one of those crafts YouTube channels, and I thought that was a pretty cool idea. So, but anyway.
No, I like that, because one of the things I bought was one of those little pre-made things, that's got like 6 pictures in it, different shapes, but that would make a nice big one, and and then you can also do something like just paint it all the same color, or
yeah. I mean, you basically you excuse me, you break them all down, take all the glass out, arrange it the way you want. Either glue them together or staple them from the back, so that they hold together. Rattle can, spray paint them, whatever color that you want. Put the glass back in, drop the photos, drop the backs, put 1 wire. So depending on how long, I suggest getting 2 nails. All right. That, and then 1 wire. And then with that 1 wire, just hang them on the 2 nails. And you're good to go. All right. Okay, so creating export presets that are going to allow you to do multiple things at the same time. All right. So the first thing you need to do, obviously, is you need to identify what it is that you want to do with your export. Okay. So, like for example, I need 1 at X size for sharing on social media. I need 1 at X size, excuse me, X size for posting on my portfolio page. All right, I'm just making these things up. And I need 1 at X size because I'm going to put it on a thumb drive and I'm going to walk it down to CVS to get prints. Okay, whatever it is. All right. So first thing you need to do is identify what the end the end item is that you need. Then you need to figure out where you want these outputs to land. Okay. Now, I am a big proponent of not having a lot of extra files hanging around, taking up extra space if I don't need it. So you've heard me in the past advocate to the fact that because I have the RAWs and because I have the abilities of exporting from my edited RAW images at any time from Lightroom, once I export it and I'm done with that photo, I'm done doing what I need to do with that photo, I usually delete my JPEGs. I don't have them laying around, okay? Because if I need that JPEG again, I just go back to the source file and spit out a new one. It only takes a couple of seconds, okay? And it doesn't clutter up my system. Okay. So that said, because I am building purposeful exports that are going to be walked through the end of my workflow, all right, because the beginning of the workflow is, you know, all your editing, then you export them, and the workflow doesn't stop there. Once you export them, the Lightroom part stops, but you then take those JPEGs and you do something else with them. So the workflow continues. All right. So what we need to do is determine where those JPEGs are going to go once they are exported from Lightroom. Okay. Now, in the past, some people have said, well, I just export my JPEGs into the same folder that has my RAW. Because in their mind, they think, well, you know, if I keep the JPEG with the RAW, I always know where to find it. That's fine if you're working on a one image at a time. But imagine if you have, let's say, 5 images, and I'm being conservative here, 5 images across, let's say, several years in 5 different folders. So now if you export each one to their respective folder where the RAWs are, now when you want to take it to the next step, you have to go back to the folder where the RAW is, drill down to it, find that JPEG, do what you got to do with it. Then it says, oh, well, I need the other 4. Now you got to go to the other folders, and it becomes a pain in the ass, right? So my philosophy is typically when you are exporting something, if you're exporting multiples, there's a reason why you're exporting multiples. It's because you're probably working on a project. So you want all of those to land in one spot where all 5 of those that you exported are collected and you have instant access to them. Okay. Now, that being said, I also don't like drilling down through folder after folder after folder after folder. Okay. So I try to make things easy for myself. All right. And your system, whether you're on a Mac or whether you're on Windows, has a photos folder. Okay. So if I go to my desktop here, okay, Oh, this one doesn't, because I got rid of it. Oh, here it is, pictures. I have a pictures folder, okay? I have a documents folder and I have a desktop folder, okay? For some reason, I hardly ever use this pictures folder, all right? I got these open board, and actually both these can probably be deleted, okay? All right, but as you can see, I don't really use these. I like putting everything on my desktop, okay? Simply because it allows me instant access. I can access it straight from my desktop. And there's no hunting. There's no, if I wanted to, I don't even need to open up this window because they are on my desktop. I can just go to my desktop, open up the folder that I landed those images in, and I'm immediately ready to go to the next part of my workflow. Okay. Now, I'll give you a sneak peek into this, because you can see you can see here. All right. I have a folder called client. Okay. Client previews. Let's see. Those are blah, blah, blah. Portrait. So, XXX. This is kind of my catch-all. I tend to use this XXX as just a dump folder. Everything just kind of goes into it, right? And then I have a couple other little project folders, okay? But if we go into like this XXX, all right, you can see it just got a collection of stuff that I've output, and it just kind of sits there until I'm done with it. And then once I'm done with it, I'll just go ahead and delete, okay? So that being said, what I tend to do is when I build an export preset, I think about what is the use of that image when I am done with it? Not when I'm done, when I export it, okay? What is the end use for that image when I export it, okay? So keep that in mind. What we're gonna do is, this is kind of complicated. This isn't. What's in here? Anything? Nothing. All right. What's in here? Nothing. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these two. Okay. For this demonstration, we're going to use the pictures folder. Okay. The pictures folder. All right. Simply because this is currently empty, and you'll get to see how things get built up. All right. All right. So we have these 3 train images, and what I want to do is I want to create some export presets that are going to do very specific things. All right, the first thing I want to do is I want to export for use for sharing on social media. All right, so we can right click, and all the way almost to the bottom here, where you're going to see it says export. Okay. And if you hover over it, you're going to see all your export presets populated. All right. So you can, on a one click, just, select whatever you want. And you can see I have my social medias right here. Okay. So on one click, I can export that out to my social media. All right. But if we go all the way to the top, we get to our export dialog box. Our export dialog box. All right. And in this dialog box, of course, you're going to see all your presets on the left-hand side here. Okay. Now, all of these are organized into folders. All right. So you can always add a folder when you create a preset. Okay. And we'll get to that in a second. Okay. All right. So I'm not going to use any of my presets. We're going to create a new one from scratch. All right. And we said we're going to do this for social media. So the first thing we need to figure out is what size do we want to export? Do we want to export with a watermark? Okay. These are all decisions you need to have in place before you create your preset. So for example, if you say, yes, I want a watermark, you need to make sure that you have some watermarks available for you to add to your image. Okay. If you don't, you will need to create a watermark. Okay. And you can create a simple one here, or, you know, you can create more advanced ones with like an image or a signature, things like that. We're not going to get into creating watermarks today, but just know that if you want to include a watermark, the watermark needs to be built before you make your preset, your export preset. Okay. All right. What we're going to do is we're just going to literally just go right down the line, starting from the top. And this is where we need to start thinking about where we're going to land those exports. And this is going to talk very specifically about what you mentioned earlier, Brian, about, multiple folders, and sometimes it'll ask you what folder do you want it to drop into and blah, 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 blah. Okay. There's actually a little trick to that, because you think, oh, well, no, here, I'll shut up and I'll just explain it later. Okay. So on this one, it's going to ask you, where do you want to export your image to? All right. And if you click on the drop down, it gives you, you can drop it into your desktop. You can you put it into your documents folder, a user folder, your videos folder, and your pictures folder. Okay. Or at the top, which is the one I like to use, is, select a specific folder. Okay. This one I never ever use. Same folder as the original photo. I hate that. If you feel you have a need for it, just disregard my prejudices and go ahead and use it. That's fine. Okay. Or you can say, I will choose the photo later. All right. And it's useful for some presets. Me personally, I like creating a preset that I just pressed a button. I don't have to think about it. It's going to put the finished photos where I want them, and I don't have to worry about it. I don't want to be making decisions and thinking, okay, I'm doing a batch process. Where do I want these to go? All right. I'm just going to let the machine do it for me. Okay. So 99% of the time, I'm going to say specific folder. All right. And then I'm going to tell it, all right, by going choose. All right. I'm going to tell it what folder do I want it to go into. Okay. So in this case, we're going to go into, where was it? The pictures folder. Okay. So I'm going to go into my pictures folder. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and say select folder. Okay. Now, let me just get rid of that. All right. Now, here's the thing. My pictures folder is going to be my default folder for everything that we're going to be doing for this workshop. And we're building 3 different exports. Okay. Each one of those 3 different exports is going to be based on the same exact files. So what happens is, if I do not rename the files, there's going to be a file naming issue where when it goes to the first export, drops the JPEG, it does the second export. If it doesn't change the file name, it's going to want to drop it in the same exact folder with the same exact name, and there's going to be a conflict, and an error message is going to come up and says, hey, there's a file already with that name. What do you want to do? Which kind of defeats the purpose of keeping yourself organized. Make sense? All right. And even if you decide I'm going to make the 3 presets, rewrite the file name on all 3 images so that there are no conflicts, if you drop all, and at that point, if you got 3 images, 3 exports, you have 9 photos dropped into a single folder. Now you have to sort through 9 images. 9 images isn't a big deal. But what if you were doing 50 images times 3, 150 images? Do you really want to spend time sorting through 150 images to figure out which image is which that goes where? No, doesn't make sense. So we will drop it into a very specific folder for that purpose. All right. So the main folder I want to drop it into is my pictures folder. Okay. Within that, I'm going to say, hey, I want you to put it into a subfolder. Okay. Into a subfolder. And for this one, we're going to call it social media. All right. Media. Okay. Social media. All right. So now what's going to happen is Lightroom's going to run this particular export preset. It's going to say, hey, we're going to throw everything into a subfolder called social media. And that subfolder, if it does not exist, it is going to create it inside the pictures folder. Okay. Now the pictures folder has to be there. All right. It has to be there. All right. If you choose a folder that sometimes gets deleted, this is where you're going to run into problems, because now Lightroom is going to say, hey, there is no folder called, XYZ. All right. It's expecting it. And then it's going to ask you, hey, where do you want me to create this social media folder, and where do you want me to put it? I'm not finding this pictures folder. All right. And it's not going to create that one because it's expecting to find it. Okay. So that's the difference. That's the difference. All right. When you designate a folder to drop it into, it needs to exist. If you're going to put it into a subfolder within that existing folder, it doesn't need to exist. Lightroom will create it. Make sense? All right. So that's caveat number 1. Okay. All right. And the other thing is if you want, you could add that export to your catalog. Again, I'm not a big fan of that simply because I'm going to be getting rid of it anyway once I'm done with it. All right. But the next part, if it is an existing file, what do you want me to do with it? Okay. And you can either say, choose a new name for the exported file. All right. So it's going to say, hey, you know, pick a different name. Overwrite it without warning, meaning it's just, oh, there's a file with that name. I'm just going to throw this one in there and get rid of the other one. All right. Not a big fan of that because, you know, you never know. Or you can say, we'll just skip it and not do the export. I'm not a fan of that either. Okay. So you have those options. But for me, 99% of the time it's going to be ask me what I want to do. Okay. So it's going to pop up a little warning. It says, hey, I'm seeing a file with that name in here. What do you want me to do about it? All right. And at that point, I'll use to say, oh, yeah, I remember I already exported it, and then I can cancel out. Or I can say, you know what? That was an old export. I've modified the file with new edits. I want to get rid of that old one. Go ahead and overwrite it. Okay. So, but I want to be warned. If there's a conflict, I want to be warned. Make sense? Okay. All right. So once that's selected, we're just going to go down. File renaming. All
Hey,
right.
Doc,
Yeah.
I wanted to just make a point about what you were just talking about with the where to put these things.
Yep.
You know, the first time you did this, I now take your advice and I put all these type of folders on my desktop.
Yep.
I think that's a good thing, but also why if someone might want to put them in pictures, that's another way to work, but they should be put in something like pictures or desktop because those are kind of system folders or protected
Yes.
folders and are not subject to change by mistake, like you're saying.
Exactly.
Watch out if you put in some folder that you create.
Exactly.
You
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll get buggered up somewhere along the line.
Yeah. And then, like you said, because they are system folders, they're very easily accessible right from your file explorer. You know, you open up your file explorer and there it is, desktop, documents, videos, pictures. All right. So one click gets you where you need to be. And for me, I like that. I want things to be easy to find. I don't want to be drilling down through folders. Okay. So good point. All right. Now we have to make a decision. All right. File naming. All right. Do we want to rename these files? Okay. And again, you have to consider what is the end use for these images. Okay. So by default, your image is going to probably say image-1234. Okay. Which obviously means absolutely nothing to anybody. Okay. I have a hang up, I guess you can call it, OC. I want to be able to visually link the image that I'm looking at, the export, the JPEG, what was generated from my RAW. I want to be able to look at that and say that file is associated with that RAW file. Okay. And the reason I know is because I'm looking at the last 4 digits of that JPEG and it matches the last 4 digits of that RAW file in that folder that matches the contents of that image. Okay. So if I need to find outside of Lightroom Okay, this is outside of Lightroom, outside of anything that allows me to look at a raw file, because again, you really can't see a raw file. Okay, I look at the JPEG. Here, let me just move this one out of the way here. Okay, I look at this JPEG here of this train, and I see the file name is IMG-1914. Okay. Now, if I rename it, anything other than that file name, I'm going to have to be guessing at what was the source file for that JPEG. Okay. So let's say I rename it Thomaston Train 001. Okay. Now, I can't open up my Thomaston Train folder and look for 001 because there is no 001. I completely disassociated the original raw file from the export. Okay, so again, this is my hang up. There are occasions where I'll break this, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But for me, when I'm sharing something on social media, if somebody says, "Oh, I like such and such," I want to be able to look at the JPEG and be able to associate it immediately with the RAW. So what I do is I preserve the last 4 digits. And I can put whatever I want in front of those 4 digits, right? So I will get rid of the IMG or NEC or whatever prefix your camera puts on it. I'll get rid of that because I don't need those. I just want those 4 last digits, okay? But if I'm sharing it on social media, and I know Facebook kind of renames things, but not all social media does. What I will do is I will rename to something, all right? And I have a bunch of options, all right? You can rename it to a custom name, X of Y. So if I were exporting all 3, gave it a custom name, it could be custom name 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3. All right. The one that I like is the second one here, custom name plus the original file number. Okay. Custom name plus sequence, custom name, by itself, custom text with a file suffix, date. You can say, give the date the photo was taken, and then some kind of file suffix. Date and file name, sequence, file name, original file name. All right. And then I have a couple here that I created for myself, a panel rename, and product on white ID sequence. Okay. And I did that for clients. Okay. But I kind of like the custom name, original file name. Okay. And then what this does is it gives you a little box, all right? So custom name, original file number. And it gives you a box to enter what your custom text is, okay? Now, here's the caveat to this, okay? What you put into this custom text is going to be saved with that preset. So, in this particular case, I'm building the preset to export D3 train pictures, but the preset by itself may not be used only on train pictures. All right. I have some bird pictures. All right. So I'm not going to rename anything that is associated with the images that I'm currently doing, because the next set of images may not have anything to do with that subject. All right. So if I say Thomaston trains, okay, Well, guess what? When I go to export those birds, it's going to rename those Thomaston trains. And they're not Thomaston trains, they're birds, all right? So be aware of that. However, because we are sharing on social media, yeah.
You have no idea how many pictures I have that start with Easttown. No matter, because I was going to ask about that. How can we stop this kind of stuff? Yeah, Easttown, I forget to override it.
Yeah, remind me, if I don't cover it, remind me before we're done how to go in and modify that. All right. So that way you don't have to redo your whole preset. You can just go in and make that one little change and save it. Okay. All right.
Thanks.
So for social media, I like to put Unitas Photography. All right. And you can do it Unitas Photography with a space, Unitas Photography with an underscore, whatever it is. All right. So, you can call it Brian Photography. You can call it Bob's Photography, Alan's Photography, whatever you want. Okay. And if you notice, it's going to give you an example based on, because I have one image selected. Okay. It's going to give you an example what that file name is going to look like on export. Okay. Make sense? All right. All right. So I got my renaming. All right. Next one is nothing with video. So we're going to skip that. My next one is what image format do I want to export it to? Right now it's saved as a TIFF from a previous preset. I don't. I want it as a JPEG, not an extra large JPEG. All right, just a regular JPEG. And then we have to decide what is the quality that we want to save this at. Okay, and this is where some people get a little confused. Okay, because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, yeah, I'm just gonna crank it up to 100. I want 100%, quality on my JPEG." Okay, just realize that if you are exporting a large JPEG at 100% quality, all right, what the 100% quality means is the higher that percentage, the less compression is applied to the image to reduce it down in size. Okay, so you preserve a little bit more of the quality of the image, the color gamut doesn't get compressed too heavily. You avoid a lot of that kind of like pixelation, especially along the edges, so if you're going to print, definitely keep it at 100. But if you're going to share on social media, it's going to be compressed. If whatever algorithm they use for sharing, if the image is too large, they're going to automatically add compression. Okay. So you might as well control that compression to begin with. All right. So for social media, I usually will go either 60 or 80. Okay. Now, if you say 60, oh, that seems awfully low. Trust me, it really isn't. All right. There's very little noticeable difference between 60 and 80 as far as quality. Okay. And when you set the quality on export, what it avoids is that disintegration of your image that happens when a algorithm like Facebook or Instagram applies their just kind of like very sloppy you know, whatever it is that they do to images to compress it. It's horrific. All right. So you might as well take control, drop it down to 60. You're not going to notice a major difference. Yeah.
About the 60%. Being in the web business, we all used to say, you know, stuff for the web, 70% is a good thing to do.
Yep.
But, you know, I've always noticed that for some reason when you're working with Photoshop, or I remember from years ago, you know, you could take something down to 50% and it still looked better than what some of the others other softwares when you're dropping them out at 70%. So,
Right.
you know, I'm always thinking about size, you know, so that's why I was wondering with this, um, if this something is going to social media, I guess I concur. Maybe sometimes might even want to go lower. I don't know, depending on the size of it, or you could get away with that. Because the other thing that you just said that I've noticed too is I've done some side by side tests is to see what Facebook will do to a high resolution image versus the lower resolution.
Yeah.
They,
Yeah. I know there have been some people who've run tests to see what like the Facebook algorithm does to their images. And it's pretty horrendous. I wish I could
that's what I
remember
mean.
who it was that did the tests, but they're out there on YouTube. You can do a search for it. I think Facebook is probably one of the worst ones for image quality, especially if on images that kind of get reshared a lot. You start noticing the degradation over time. Now, for you, Brian, obviously JPEG, but you can also spit it out to PNG, which is you don't get the smaller size that you would with like a JPEG, but you get a greater, you know, a better fidelity from a PNG. You know, especially, you know, if the file isn't physically large to begin with. All right. For web use, you're not going to really do anything, you know, larger than 1920 by 1080. You know, most of the graphics that you're going to put up are going to be within that confines. All right. So that's available. Now, from what I understand, what's coming down the pipeline is, because it's been asked for, is why can I not export to the WebP format? Okay, which is kind of like a slow progress on that format being used for images on websites. It's not quite there. I heard that there was some plans of implementing that format, as well as the see if I can remember the what's that format for like cell phones? H something.
you
I
know,
can't remember.
about those WebP though, I'm seeing them more and more and more when I'm out doing a Google search for
Yes.
something, and more and more and more. It's
Yeah. They're a pain in the ass simply because there's not enough support for that format. They're a pain in the ass. I hate them, but that, you know, they're trying to have that replace the current standard of JPEGs because the WebP format has better fidelity and greater compression rates than the JPEG, as I understand it. Okay, so you get smaller file size, better resolution, specifically designed for presenting on a over a screen on a website. Okay. Which of course, it's not so much the physical size of the file that's the issue. It's the transmission of taking the image from the server, passing it through, the internet lines in order for it to assemble on your end. That takes time. And if you have a website that is very heavy with graphics, you have background graphics, you have icons, you have textures, you have, inline graphics, you have header graphics, you have footer graphics, sidebar graphics, all of those things need to be served, and it takes resources, so the smaller they can get those files to be able to serve properly, the easier it is on the system all the way around. Okay. We're not quite there yet with Adobe products, but just wanted to mention that it is in the pipeline. I've heard rumors that they're working on something. Okay. But for now, we're just going to go to JPEG. I'm going to put it at 60. The color space I'm going to set to the standard, the internet standard, which is sRGB. All right. In this case, the IEC 619, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now, there's also this, limit file size to, okay. And these are like those special times where somebody says, hey, you can upload an image, but there's a limit as to what our system can receive. It has to be under X kilobytes. All right. If you type that number in, it'll make sure that it compresses it down to be that or lower, and then it'll spit it out. But for your own internet use on Facebook, that's not an issue. So we're just going to go JPEG, image quality at 60, color space is sRGB. All right, that's done. Next one, this is new. This is because of, everything that's happening with AI and, they're trying to be able to track ownership of images and blah, 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 blah. This hasn't been completely ironed out. There's not a lot of support for it. So you can just keep it at don't include and just bypass it. You don't need to worry about it. Next is image size. Image size. And this is where, you have to consider what are you presenting? Now, a lot of people are concerned about, image theft, and if you have a really beautiful image, you probably have some validity to that that threat. So my suggestion is most typical computer screens are typical. All right, typical computer screens are 1920 by 1080 or HD quality prints, or HD quality screens. 1920 by 1080. Some are a little bit bigger. Now we're getting into like gaming screens, which are 22, whatever. Don't worry about those. If you keep in mind 1920 by 1080, which is your standard HD, whatever you share on social media is going to be smaller than that. Okay? Smaller than that. All right? But there's also too small that you can't see anything and appreciate anything. So, you have limits. Okay? The upper limit, 1920 by 1080. The lower limit, back in the day, I used to say 600. Then I went up to 800. Now my lowest limit for sharing on Facebook is 1,200. Okay, 1,200. Simply because anything below that, people aren't going to appreciate your images. So a 1,200 pixel on the long end sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. Because if somebody wants to print it out, the only thing they're able to get out of that is maybe at the most, a 5x7 print. Okay? It can definitely print out a 4x6. Big deal. What are you going to do with a 4x6 image? Really can't appreciate it much. You can put it on your desk. Okay? But there is not enough resolution, especially at a quality of 60, to print out, an 8x10, or anything, 11x14. You're not going to get that. So you're pretty safe at keeping it around 1920 to 1080 or down to like 1,200. Okay. Now you have several options here. All right. You have set your width and height. You can set very specific dimensions. You can say, hey, whatever the long edge is, I want you to change it to this. All right. And then by default, whatever the ratio is, it's going to adjust the short end, the short end according to the ratio. All right. So you just say whatever the long edge is, make it this. It handles the calculations for you, whatever the ratio is, and it takes care of everything else. And then you have the option of the short edge. All right. So whatever the short edge, I don't want it to go any bigger or any smaller than such and such. Okay. All right. Or you can set it to megapixels. Okay. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of this simply because all right. So if size is a consideration, you want to keep it underneath a certain size, that's fine. But then the dimensions might be a little bit fluid. Okay. And then there's a percentage. Okay. A percentage. This is another one where I'm not a big fan of percentages simply because if you have two raw files at two different sizes because you cropped one and you didn't crop the other, all right? And you say, reduce them by 50%. Yeah, I'm sure there's a need somewhere, but for our needs, you're going to get two different size outputs because you have two different size inputs. They're both being reduced the same amount, but 50% of two different sizes is two different sizes. So I'm not a big fan of that. Okay. I usually either go with width and height. Okay. Where I will give it a width and a height, and it's going to kind of match it. If it can't, it favors one over the other. All right. And typically whatever the largest one is, it'll scale down and then everything else will fit within. Okay. Or if I know the majority of my images are going to be horizontal, let's say, I do a lot of landscape work. Almost all my shots are landscapes. I just need to worry about the long edge. Okay. Pick the long edge. Okay. And then we're going to set that. In this case, I'm going to do the 1200. All right. So that's my minimum. And then the resolution. Okay, here's where it gets a little tricky. Resolution, if it's just going for internet use, this number means absolutely nothing. Okay. If it's going to print, that number means something. Okay. But that number can be manipulated by software if they just download it. All right. But for me, I like to punch in if it's going to be on displayed on a screen. Most screens are most desktop screens are either going to be 72 dpi dots per inch or 96 dots per inch. Okay. When we get into tablets and cell phones, they're usually about 150 dpi or pixels per inch. Okay. These screens, even though they're smaller, they're still 1920 by 10. Well, these are a little bit longer, but still 1920 by 1080. All right. It's just that we're at 150. All right. But because screens disregards that resolution number, we don't have to worry about it. It's if we want to prevent people from printing it. So what I normally do is I'll just punch in 72, all right? Because that means if anybody wants to print this, all right, they're going to have a hard time printing something at 72 dots per inch. They would need to upscale it, okay? And then that just starts getting muddy, all right? So don't make it easy for people to steal your image is what I'm saying, all right? So I got it long edge, 1200 pixels, resolution, 72 dpi, all right? Or, I'm sorry, pixels per inch, okay?
I have a question.
Yeah.
But this thing here that we're talking about, this resolution, this does impact the file size, the resulting
It does.
file.
A little bit, yes. Not so much in JPEG, but it will on like a TIFF file.
I guess I'm thinking in terms of not for the social media thing here, but again, I'm always thinking about web stuff. So if these were destined for the
Well,
web, I would.
Social media is the web.
I mean, in terms of if you upload something to Facebook and they don't like the size, they're going to manipulate it.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to make it as small as possible for them.
But if I'm putting on my website, there's nobody that's going to translate that for me. I want to get it optimized for whatever reasons. That the page
yeah, be careful with that because WordPress does have depending on well, you know WordPress, depending on the template, when you upload an image, it will parse it through its photo processor and generate derivatives that you're able to choose from. So, you know, you'll upload an image and then it'll say, oh, well, this one's at thumbnail size, this one's at small size, this one's at medium size, this one's at full size. Okay. So it is resizing your images. Okay. Yes, you have the option because you're the web developer to say, hey, I'm going to place the full resolution image here because I specifically made it this size to fit here. All right. So you can disregard those others. All right. But if you're building a website for other people, you have to take that into consideration that there is going to be derivatives of an image based on what the template does. So just be aware of that. Okay. But yeah, otherwise, yes, you have to do the manual calculations in your head to say, okay, what size, what resolution do I need in order to present this properly on the website that I'm building? Okay. And again, resolution size doesn't matter. That's a print feature, right? What matters is the pixels across and the pixels up and down. Okay. Pixel size is what matters on the web. Okay. And where is it? The image quality. All right. And that has to do with file compression. File compression. Okay. All right. Any questions to this point? All right. There's a little check mark here that says don't enlarge. All right. So if you're one that likes to do some, heavy duty cropping on your images, if the image falls below what numbers you've punched in here, okay, if you do not have that marked, it will automatically upscale your image. All right. If it's just a small amount, a couple hundred pixels, no big deal. All right. You can probably get away with it. But if it's a larger percentage, 25%, 50% larger, you might want to consider, saying don't enlarge. Okay. Just be aware of that as well. All right. So next one, output sharpening. You have just a couple of options for the screen. This is what we're going to use here. Matte paper, glossy paper. All right. And those two are if you are going to print. All right. So in this case, we're going for the screen. You can either sharpen it or you can say, no, I don't want Lightroom to do any additional sharpening. I've already sharpened it within the program. We're going to leave it as is. All right. So it depends on your preference. And then if you do select it, how much, low, standard, or high. Okay. I usually just put a little bit of sharpening on standard, and I usually find that is more than enough. Okay. Next part, metadata. This is something that I always tell people. You want to make sure that your information gets written to the metadata of your exports. All right. So make sure that your name is on there. If you want, if you have a website, make sure your website is on there. Okay. You don't need, and I don't suggest, putting an address or a phone number or anything like that, unless you're a business. All right. And if your phone number is public, then yeah, go ahead and throw it in there. If somebody wants to use the metadata to get a hold of you, it's right there. It travels, that information travels with that image, unless you upload it to Facebook, and Facebook strips this out just for security reasons across the board on all the images. So if it's for Facebook, no big deal. Don't worry about it. But typically, if I'm spitting something out for social media, I'm going to use it across the board for social media: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Behance, whatever, else you're posting to. OnlyFans, whatever. Okay. So copyright, contact information. All right. And then of course, if you want to watermark it, all right, typically, if it's a really nice picture that I'm proud of, that I want a lot of eyes on, and I know it's going to get some kind of response, I will put my watermark on there. Okay. And watermarks are, it used to be, watermarks told everybody, hey, this image is the property of so-and-so. Please don't steal me. But let's get real. They're easy to get rid of. With Photoshop right now, you just draw a little circle around it, tell it to zap it out, and it instantly zaps it out, and you'll never know it was there. So watermarks are not theft preventers. They're not. They are, however, in my opinion, free advertising, very visual advertising, very visible advertising. All right. So my watermark is my website address. Plain and simple. Okay. All right. And then the last one, which I have, special considerations for as well, is once it's done all of this and it spits it out, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to let you know, or do you want me to do nothing? Okay. So you can say, in this case, you can do nothing. The one that I like is, once it spits it out, I'm going to be taking that file and finishing my workflow. I'm going to take that file and move it to Facebook. All right. So go ahead and open up the Explorer window or the file browser window. That way I have ready access to those files so I can just click and drag them over to Facebook. Okay. So for me, I like that, open in, where are we? Open in Explorer. But you can also say open it in Photoshop. I don't understand why. Or open it in another application. All right. Now, the only reason this is there is because Lightroom pairs very nicely with Photoshop. They're in the same ecosystem. Okay. You can also, through the preferences, open up to a secondary editor. Okay. So for example, I can open up an image from Lightroom into, let's say, Affinity. Okay. But you only have one other option. But let's say you had several programs that you like to use, and you want to be able to open it up in, let's say, Procreate. All right. You can say, hey, open up in, and then you put in, the exe address, the URL for the program, drop that in there, and it'll open it up in the program. Okay. Or go to your export actions folder now. All right. This just takes you to the folder where you keep all your exports at. We don't really need to worry about that right now. All right. But me personally, I like to see it in the Explorer. That way it gives me the options of following up. Okay. Now, once everything is done, don't click on export. All right. We went through all this work. We want to save it. All right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click the add button. Okay. And it's going to ask you, all right, it's going to say, hey, we're going to create a new preset. All right. So we're going to call this, all right, we're going to give it a new name. I like putting in as much information as I can. All right. So this is for social media, right? So that's my use. Okay. Now I could have multiple social media exports. All right. So I want to be able to differentiate between one and another. In this case, this one is 1200 pixels. And then with watermark. Okay. So yeah, it's a little long, but it tells me exactly what that is. Because I can go ahead and take this and modify it and say, I want the same exact thing, except without a watermark. Okay. So I would need to name that separately. Okay. And here we need to put it somewhere. All right. Folder, the default is to user presets. If you have folders already created, you can select one of those. Okay. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a new folder. All right. So a new folder. Once you click on that, it brings up a new dialog box. We're going to give it a new name. Okay. And this is going to be the folder that stores your presets. Okay. the folder that stores your presets. All right, so in this case, I'm just going to call it Classroom. Okay, Classroom. All right. That way I know all of these are the ones that are being designed for tonight's class. All right, and we create. And what it does is it populates it right there. There's the new folder. Okay. You can see I have some with a pound sign. Notice how the pound signs float to the top. Okay. And of course, Lightroom has to take the tops. Okay. But all right. So I have my classroom. All right. And once that's okay, I go ahead and hit create. And voila, we now have our social media 1200px. Okay. All right. Now, we built one. We need to build two more. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. I don't think I need to explain everything again. However, I'm going to take the opportunity to address the issue that you have, Brian, is where you create a preset where it's renaming everything to what was it you said? Whatever the file name. And you say, oh, that's not what I want. I needed to say something else. Okay. So the way we fix that is you first need to select the preset that you want to fix. Okay. So in this case, what I want to do is I'm actually going to use the same technique to create a duplicate with a slight modification. So as I do this, I'll show you how you can fix yours. Okay. So for yours, you would just go to the file naming section. All right. And it says, okay, well, this file naming section here, all right, I don't want it to say Unitas Photography. I want it to, let's say Unitas Photography. All right, Unitas Photo. Okay, I want it to say Unitas Photo. Okay, so we made that change. We're not going to add. We're not going to export. What we're going to do is we're going to right-click on the preset that populates this. All right. And you're going to see it says you can rename it. You can update with the current settings. So once you make your change, you just right click and you say update with current settings. All right. And then here, I'll just go here. I'll change this up. You can see it's changed up. Here it says Unitas Photography. Okay. We go back and I click on this, right? And you can see that it changes it to Unitas Photo, which is what we renamed to, okay? So that's how you fix your issue, all right? But in this case, what I want to do is I want to take and create a variation of this export, okay? So we have one here that's going to be used for social media, okay? The only difference is this one, I do not want a watermark. I do not want a watermark, okay? So now we have to take into consideration what is happening here, okay? We are exporting to the same exact location, pictures, social media, okay? We are doing it with no watermark where the previous one had a watermark, all right? And the file naming is the same. So what's going to happen is if I choose this preset, it's going to overwrite anything previously done with the other preset. Okay, so if I spat out a couple of images that have my watermark, and I said I want some without the watermark, it's going to overwrite the ones with the watermark. Okay, so I have to make a decision. Do I want to overwrite those files, or do I want to make them separate? Okay, so you might say, well, I want to use some for LinkedIn. I want to use some for Facebook. Okay, so if that's the case, we need to make a differentiation. All right. And we're going to say, okay, well, instead of dropping into a folder that says social media, maybe we're going to be a little bit more specific about our folder naming. Okay. So in the export location where it says social media, okay, I can put dash, no capital W, capital M, so no watermark. Okay, so what that's going to do is it's going to create another folder where all my exports for social media without a watermark will be dumped into. Okay, so here we have to start thinking about how we're going to organize these exports. Okay. Again, we don't want everything being dumped into one location because it just clutters everything. All right. So going to make that change, drop it into subfolder social media, no watermark. Okay. We don't want to update this. We want to separate. So what we're going to do is we're going to add this as a new preset. Okay. So the previous one we called social media 1200 pixels watermark. This is going to be social media 1200 pixels, no watermark. Okay. And it populates the previous folder that we had saved. It keeps that there. So that's fine. And we just hit create. And now we have those two. Okay. And you're starting to see a problem here, right? Okay. See the problem? The problem is that if we go too big of a name, we have to expand our window. All right. Shouldn't be too big a problem. Just keep in mind that there is a limit to this, and not so much as a limit because you can, make this as wide as you want, but there's a practical limit. All right. So just be careful of your naming convention. If you want to create something that reads a little bit clearer but more condensed, that's fine. If you want to use abbreviations instead of social media, SOC.MED is perfectly fine. Okay. All right. And we're not going to export. I'm just going to say, we're done with that. Okay. Now we need to create one more export. All right. Export. Let's say this time, instead of for sharing over social media, I want something that's going to be used for print. Okay. So now we need another name. All right. Let's call it to print. Okay. Plain and simple. What's going into this folder? Anything that's going to be going to print. Okay. If there's an existing file, what do you want? Ask me what to do. Okay. That doesn't change. File naming. All right. Here is where we can start being a little bit creative with a little bit of forethought, okay? Because we may be batching a bunch of images that are going to print, but they're going to print at different sizes, right? We may want some printing to 8x10s, some printing to 8.5 by 11, or 11 by 14, or 14 by 17. Okay. So now we don't want to create a whole bunch of different subfolders. They're all for print at different sizes. So instead of relying on folders, let's rely on file name, okay? On file name, okay? So what we want to do is we want to use the custom name original file number. Again, this is my personal preference. You can disregard it, okay? You can go, let's see, where is it? Custom name, okay? All right, and you can, here, actually, yeah, we'll do this. We'll do this, okay? Custom name, and what we'll do is we'll edit it, okay? We will edit, okay? All right. We'll get rid of this custom name. So this right here, this is pretty powerful within certain limitations, all right? This is the file name template editor. It allows you to customize how you want your files renamed, okay? So in this case, we want to create a template for printing, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take, let's say, original number suffix, okay? So that 4-digit number, all right? Again, my preference, I want to be able to associate the export with the raw file. And the link for me is that 4-digit file number, all right? Dash, all right? Original number suffix dash 8x10, okay? Guess what? I look at that, I see 8x10, and I know that it's going to be an 8x10. All right. Now, here's a caveat that you need to work out for yourself. Keep in mind, how does your computer order your file names? Alphanumerically, right? Number or special characters first, then numbers, then letters alphabetically. Okay. So here it is. I'm telling it to, we're going to be within the range of just numbers, okay? The number of my file, okay, which is 1914, and then a number that tells me the size of the print that this is designed for, okay? All right, so now when it orders everything, if I have, let's say, one's designed to print 8x10, and I want one to print 4x6, okay, then what's going to happen is it's going to order all the file names first, and then whatever number that is, I'm going to have one for 4x6, 5x7, 8x10, 11x14, 14x17. You get the drift, right? Or I can say I want to put the size first and then the number. because now, hear me out, when I go to CVS, Walmart, wherever, all right, Milford Photo, and I batch process, okay, and I upload, okay, I can say, okay, I'm going to upload all my 8x10s. So I don't want to be like, well, I got to select this one, skip a few, select this one, skip a few, select this one, skip a few, select this one. All right. If I go by 8x10 first and then the file number, then all my 8x10s are going to be in a group. All my 4x6s are going to be a group. All my 11x17s are going to be in a group. You get it? Okay. All right. But here's the thing. This is only if you want to limit the size of your export. Okay. And this is useful if you sell images and you sell images at different rates for different uses. Okay. You want to make sure that if you sell a 4x6 for $5, but if somebody wants to be able to print an 8x10, well, that's $25. Okay, you don't want them saying, "Oh yeah, I just want the $5 one," and then they go sneak it off to Walmart and says, "Print it at 8x10." Okay. So if you give them a smaller file and they print it at 8x10, it's going to look like shit. It's going to be pixelated. All right. It may not be visible from far away, but if you get up nice and close, people are going to say, "Oh, that's a lousy print." Okay. That's because they try to print larger than what you gave them. All right. If you sell them a 8x10, if you sell them at 11x17, they can always print smaller. That's fine. Have at it. But they're paying you for the premium of being able to print it large. Okay? So this system that I'm explaining allows you to organize according to how you export, and you'll have to do the math, obviously, for each specific size. Okay. All right. What's beeping here? Something's beeping at me. All right. If it's just for yourself and this doesn't matter, then disregard this. All right. You can name it whatever you want. All right. I'm just kind of showing you options. All right. But for now, we'll do this. We'll do this. All right. Just so you see that this is an option. Okay. So we're going to call that done. And you can see here's the file name, 8x10. Actually, you know what? Let's do it the other way. Let's do 8x10 dash suffix. All right, and done. And you have other options. All right, you can add additional information. Okay, so there it is. 8x10, file number 1914. Okay. All right. So that's the renaming. We want to go to file settings. All right. I want that at 100%. My quality is going to be at 100%. Okay. If your printer can take, TIFFs, that you're always going to get a better print with that. Okay. So let's do that. We'll go TIFF, no compression. All right. We don't need to worry about transparency. Color space, our sRGB. We're going to bump this up to 16-bit. We want maximum, right? 16-bit. Okay. Good. Image size. All right. We are going to not resize it. All right. So what this is going to do is whatever size comes off your camera, or whatever size your final crop size is, that's what's going to get exported. So basically we're going the max. All right. And my resolution, at this point, it probably doesn't matter, but I'm going to bump that up to 300. Okay. 300. And that's pretty much it. Sharpening, I usually put that to glossy paper. Most large prints are printed on glossy. I keep it at standard. Metadata, that stays the same. It's all my information. Watermark, definitely no watermark. And post-processing, yes. Show it to me and explore. Yeah, if I do a whole bunch of them, you know, it's probably going to pop up a bunch of these, but who knows? Maybe not. We'll see. Okay. Post-processing, show it to me and explore. All right. And now we're going to add. All right. And we're going to call this to print full res. All right. To print full res. All right. So it's going to print full resolution. Create. And there it is. Our three presets. Okay. Everybody with me so far? Okay. Now we deal with the problem that you had, Brian. All right. I have 3 images. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to select these, click on the first, shift click on the last. Right click anywhere, brings up the context menu. We're going to go all the way down towards the bottom. We're going to say export. And if you're just doing one at a time, you can go directly to any one of these. All right. And you're going to see, let's see if I can do this. Right click, export. You can see right there, classroom and the 3 that we just made. Okay. All right. All right. But we don't want to do them one at a time. We want to do all 3 at the same time. Okay. All 3 at the same time. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the little box right there. 1, 2, 3. All right. So what it's going to do is it's going to process these 3. It's going to process those 3 images with these 3 presets, and we're going to land them in those 3 different locations. All right. And then we just come down here to where it says batch export. It's going to pop up another window. All right. Let's bring this down. Okay. And you can do, let's see. We got an issue. The print full res. It's not showing me. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, custom text. There it is. All right, never mind. All right. And we're gonna go ahead and click on export. Okay. Some of the photos have AI settings that must be updated to render correctly. You can edit these settings now or proceed without. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to go X. Oh, it's going to do it anyway. Okay. You can see that this one's kind of processing the AI. There we go. All right. And then up in the corner, we're going to see the progress bar, 3 operations in progress. All right. And once it finishes, right up there, we have our windows. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. And what this one did is it opened up our social media. Okay. This is, let me see if I can do this. All right. This is our social media. All right. So this one here contains our image, with our watermark. All right. I made it nice and big so you guys can see this. All right. Our watermark. Oops. What the heck? Oh. All right. Oh, for some reason, it's conflicting with my preview screen. But you guys can see the you guys can see that watermark, right? Okay. This one here is social media, no watermark. All right. This one's social media, no watermark. All right. This is no watermark. All right. Actually, I should probably do, come on. Let's escape. We should do this one here. See, no watermark. Okay. And then the last one is our to print. And for some reason, I just put it here. And here we have our 3 TIFF files. 8x10, 1914, 8x10, 1924, 8x10, 1942. Okay. And these are all TIFF files. And it's because it's a TIFF file, it's asking what image. Let's go this way. All right, and here we go. No watermark. Okay. All right, any questions? Why is this not allowing me to? There we go. Any questions on these exports? All right, so here we go. Close, close, close that one. And if we go up one, we can see that we are in our pictures folder and we have social media that's branded, social media, no watermark, no branding, and to print. Okay. And of course, make as many subfolders as you feel you need for all your exports. Okay. Any questions? Especially Brian? Because
back when you were, excuse me, when you were editing an existing preset,
yep.
I remember seeing those where you were, but I went back through and tried to recreate that and get to a place where it says, you know, update this
Okay.
preset. That's where I got confused last time. Because it seems for me, when I click on preset and everything that I would like to edit is grayed out.
All right. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to, this one here with the watermark. Okay. All right. Actually, let me, all right. So you need to click on it, whatever it is that you want to edit. Make sure you click on it here. All right. You don't need to select it. You just need to click it. So it's highlighted. All right. Once you click it, it's going to populate all of these with that preset. Okay. So now we know this is the subfolder. It's going in. And what we're going to do is we're going to rename this subfolder social media no watermark. Or, oh, no, I'm sorry. Social media with watermark. We'll just call, oh, can't use the slash. With, or just call watermark. Social media watermark. Okay. So that's change number 1. All right. We're going to go to the file naming. All right. And we're going to say, all right, Unitas Photography. All right, we're going to go back to the longer version. Okay, everything else pretty much stays. All right, so you should be able to access this information. All right, that should not be grayed out for you.
Where I figured out where I went wrong, looking at, now that because the screen's so hard to see, but what I was doing was clicking on that X to select it, not just highlighting the blue area, like you
Oh,
said.
okay.
And then, because now when I do that and I right click, now I see that stuff. But if you checkbox it, then
Yeah, it kind of locks it from, yeah. Okay,
import is what you see. And that's where I went, what the heck?
right. Okay.
Okay.
So
That
once,
explains it.
yeah, and then once you've made your changes and you're ready to, you're good to go. All right. Let's say I want to change my watermark to my photo logo, lower right. Yeah, lower right. Okay. Then we come back to the highlighted to the highlighted thing. We're going to right click and we're going to go to update with current settings. Update with current settings. All right. And then once you click on that, you're good to go. Okay. Now here it repopulates and you can see all the new population. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and just export this one because I don't need the other ones. Give it a second and here it is. Okay.
It was that checkbox that got me.
Okay.
Lack of checking it. So.
All right. And now we have social media watermark, social media no watermark. All right. And now we have this one here that's hanging out from a previous one. I can just go ahead and delete that. Okay. Now, the nice thing about this, again, is there's a couple of ways we can do the cleanup. All right, because we have this. All right, I go ahead and I say, all right, I send that off to Facebook. I put it on my LinkedIn. I do Instagram, whatever it is you want to do with it. All right. You've taken this, all right, and you say, oh, this one here to print. This one's going to go with me to CVS. So I'm going to take my little thumb drive. I got one in my pocket right here. I'm going to take my thumb drive. I'm going to plug it into my machine. I'm going to drag this folder over to my thumb drive. Take my thumb drive, take it to CVS. There it is. They're all on the thumb drive in the to print folder. I take it, upload it, do whatever I got to do. Print my 8x10s at the local CVS. Okay. I come back a couple days later. I usually wait a few days, maybe a couple weeks. If I don't need those folders, if I don't need those files anymore, nobody's asking for anything special about those, sharing with anything else, I'll just go ahead. You can do one of two things. Go into the folder and just say delete. Okay. And the folder is maintained. Okay. Or you can just say, hey, guess what? Because the preset that I created creates the folder, if it's not there, it creates that folder. I can just go into my pictures folder and just go, bam, bam, we're done. Cleanup is done. I have no files hanging out, taking up space. Okay. Now I can say, oh, I want to, print out these three birds. All right. You can right click, go to export, or what I normally do, oops, come on. Oh, come on. What happened? What I normally do is I will go to the export button down here. All right. And click on that. Click, check, check, check. There's my three checks. Hit batch export, export. Wait the few seconds that it takes for the three operations to go through the process. Bam, bam, and bam. There we go. One, This is social media with watermark. This is social media, no watermark, and these are for print. Okay. The one for print, I'll deal with that later. I'm not going to CVS right now, but I am going to go and, upload to social media. All right. So here I'm pretty much done with Lightroom. At this point, I can open up my browser, go to log into my Facebook account, say, hey, look at these pretty birds that I took a picture of. All hail the great photographer of birds. Send me all the kudos. All right. And then sit back and smile. Okay. And then again, once you're done, all right, I can close this one. I go up one. All right. Let's go to icon view. I says, well, I'm done with my 2 social medias. I'm not done with my 2 print. I am done with my social media. So I can go ahead and delete those. Bam, they're gone. Now all that's left in that folder is what I need to follow up on. And I'm done. All right. No clutter, no mess, straightforward, plain and simple. Make sense? All right. Now, here's a pro tip for you, Brian. All right. Because you are a web developer, you're going to be generating images for very specific purposes. All right. So you are going to let me take a pause, gather my thoughts. Okay. Because you are a web developer, Lightroom can be a very powerful tool for keeping your workflow organized on a per project basis. All right. So what I mean is you can create, let me just close this out. Okay. You can create a collection. All right. And the collection that you create, all right, is project name. Okay. And create. All right. And then within that, well, actually, what you would do is you would do a collection set. Actually, here, let's get rid of this. All right. We're gonna create. Come on. What the heck? Let's go back to my folder, my working folder, classroom folder. There we go. We're getting out of hand. Collection. All right. I can go to create a collection set. Collection set. And we'll call that project name. All right. So whatever your project is, home, I'm going to put a little asterisk just so it floats to the top. All right. So we have a collection set. You give it your project name and you say create. Okay. And then now you have a folder that you can collect anything and everything that is going to be used for that website project. Okay. And then within here, if you wanted to, all right, let's go back to this one. All right. Let's say I want to use this for a header. Okay. So now what I can do is I can create a virtual copy. All right. Bring it into my develop tool and I can, oops, wrong. What the hell? Okay. And I want to say, I'm going to do a crop for a header. Okay. That's my header graphic. Okay. Header graphics tend to be, whatever size your header, right? I made this for a header for a friend's website. So there it is. Okay. So now what we do is we can, let's see, add this to a collection All right. Come on. We're going to close that collection. All right. Within our project name, I'm going to create a collection. All right. And we're going to call this headers. All right. So this is all your headers. All right. And we're going to keep that within our project name. And we're going to include this selected folder. We're going to create. All right. So now, as I go through, all right, why there's two? Oh, I had two selected. All right. That wasn't supposed to be. Oops. Let's remove that. Don't worry about it. All right. So as you go through and you make your selections for the headers for different pages, they're all right here. Okay? They're all right here. Okay. And then you make your whatever other graphics you need. All right. And just create folders within your collections. And then now you're organized. So now you have, let's say you have 15 of these headers. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to create an export that is going to export these at the size that you need for your website's header. Okay. You're going to, this is where it gets a little tricky. Depending on how your workflow is with renaming graphics for specific uses in a website, you might have to play around with it. Okay. So you may say, again, I like preserving the last 4 digits. That's me. That's my pet peeve. That's my idiosyncrasy. All right. So I will probably say something like, website name, header, and then the last 4 digits. Okay. And then that way I just keep it simple. It keeps it uniform. All my headers will be exported with that template. It's going to get exported to, because this is a project, I can create a project preset. Okay. That means that all the presets that I create for that project will go under when you go to your, let's go back here, grid, folders. All right. See how I have these up here? Hashtag Enfield, hashtag Focacia, hashtag Medza. These are all projects. All right. And underneath these are my presets for what that project needs. And as the project evolves, and if they need additional ones, I just create another one. All right. This one only has 1. This one only has 2. All right. This one has 3. Okay. So that way, when it comes time to export stuff, you can just go click, 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 check, 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 whichever ones you want. If you only, if you have 5 of them and you only need 3, you just check the 3 that you need. You spit it out. It all lands in a project folder. Okay. Instead of saying, your pictures folder, you can designate a project folder. Okay. Remember the caveat though. All right. Remember the caveat. If instead of using the pictures folder, all right, because remember the pictures folder, you can create a subfolder. All right. But when you have a project folder, you will have a project folder and project subfolders because you want all your headers to land in one place, all your interior graphics to land in one place, all your footer graphics to land in a separate place. So what you're going to do is, let's say on your desktop, all right, you're going to create a new folder, all right, hashtag, all right, a double hashtag in this case, project name. Oops, delete project name hashtag. Okay. Now, keep in mind, do not erase this folder. Do not erase this folder. Okay. Because that first part of your location, all right, this part where it says folder, it's going to look for it. If it doesn't find it, it's going to stall. It's going to say, hey, look, I can't find that folder. You got to tell me where that folder is. Okay? So be careful. All right? If you use a project folder, don't erase the project folder. You can erase the stuff inside the project folder because anything that's here, it will generate it if it's not found. If it's in this one here and it doesn't find it, it's not going to generate it. All right. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Oh, here's the suggestion that I had to fix this problem. All right. Pictures folder. I would love to be able to put my project folder inside the pictures folder. All right. Which you can. All right. But you just go to, all right. Oops. Excuse me. Let's go. I clicked the wrong button. You just choose. All right. Let's say, where was it? Desktop? Here's a project name. Select project. Okay. There it is. There's my project name. All right. Again, I know my desktop folder is not going to get erased. It won't let me do it. Okay. But I can very easily erase this project name. Okay. So it would be great if I could keep this as my source folder and be able to say project name and a subfolder as a subfolder. And the thing that I suggest to let's go back here. We'll just go back to desktop, select. The thing that I suggest Adobe would do is it'd say, okay, here, all right, project. Oh, let's go hashtag project name hashtag slash. See how it turns red? It's not going to let me. Headers. All right. That would be an easy fix. That would be an easy fix. That would tell Lightroom that, hey, we're going to use this desktop folder and we're going to create a project name folder. If it's not there, it's going to create it. If it is there, we're going to use it. And inside that folder, we're going to create another folder called headers. Isn't that elegant? That's a great solution. But as you can see, it turns red. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. I wish we could. That would solve so many issues of organization. Okay. Escape. So anyway, just keep keep those little caveats in mind, and you should be good to go. All right. So you can have your headers, you can have your internals, you can have your footers, you can have, however way you want to organize it. All right. Any questions on anything we covered? We lost Bob. his wife called. You good, Brian? Did I give you
I'm
something?
still getting some strange behavior, but I think it's, I was trying to edit one, and then you highlight the name, don't check it. And then as soon as you go and change one of the things, it unhighlights what you checked. But then I went in and it seemed to take it one time, and then it didn't. So I'm not sure.
All right. What are you trying to change?
Anything. Let's say I go in there and I tap that one there, so then I go over and I want to change the file naming. No, the export location, because that's what I was trying to fix.
Export location. Yep.
So I don't want a specific folder. I want to go up there and click on desktop.
All right. So, yeah. So you can either select desktop from here.
See, it turns it off. Turned it off.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Hold on. It grays this out. Okay.
So the thing on the left, okay.
It grays this out. All right. But you can see that it's got desktop selected. All right. Because
now, when you go, my problem, now you've done that change and you go, okay, I want to save this.
All right. Hold on. Okay. We want to keep the same subfolder, right? To print.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So now, all right, we go to the one that we wanted to change, which was the social media 1200 pics with watermark. We right click, update, and we're good to go.
Right click when it's not highlighted.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because what you're doing is you just keep track of which it is that you want to change. Okay. All right. Yeah, sometimes it will unselect this on in this panel. Sometimes that happens. Yeah. You just got to remember which one you want to modify.
Right.
Okay. So in this case, let's go. We're going to change this one to desktop as well. All right. And we go update with current. Okay.
All right.
All right. So now let's cancel that. All right. Let's see. We want to, let's go back to our collections headers. We want to delete that from our header. I haven't used this feature in like forever. Remove from collection. There it is. Okay. All right. So we go to folders, classroom. There we go. Okay. There's our header. This one we're going to develop, reset. There we go. Okay. So now we go to export, social media, and social media. No, actually, no. We'll just, all right. We'll do social media into print. Okay. Batch export. Give it a few seconds. It's going to go through the process. Bam. There's our to print. And where is our, did I miss the, the desktop. Where was it? The social media. Did I uncheck it by accident? I don't know. I did something wrong. I did something wrong. All right, let's oh, there it is. It is to print. It's on our desktop. Okay. Oh, there it is to print right here. That's the one. And then desktop to print. Yeah, I did something wrong. I changed something that I shouldn't have. But what's new? All right. Okay. There we go. Let's get rid of that one. Bam. Okay. So we need to fix it. All right. So let's go export. All right. That's going to, oh, yeah. Social media, desktop, social media, no watermark. Is that the one that we picked? Social media. Yeah, I don't see it. Let's try it out. Something export. Oh yeah, there it is. Desktop. Where is it? Social media, no watermark. Right there. Right. Double click, and there it is. There's my social media sized image. Okay, on the desktop. So okay, and we're done. So yeah, you should have no problems reconfiguring your presets. Just right click, update, go to the next one, whatever it is you want to change, right click, update, and we're good. This one here, same thing.
Takes a minute to get into that intuitive flow of Adobe processes.
Yeah, because you're right. It isn't intuitive. It's that Adobe intuitive. That's a good way of doing it.
Like when you're trying to update the watermarks.
Yeah, for the longest time I couldn't figure out how to do that because it isn't intuitive.
And the first time we did that session, I made some of those things while you were doing the session.
Right.
And I still use them.
Oh yeah, I hope so. Yeah, absolutely. So
That is to say, I haven't made any since.
well, if you want to, you just go edit watermarks.
Yeah. Now I've got it. Just when you're first doing it, you go, wait a minute.
Yeah. I hear you. Okay. All right. So that gives you a lot of food for thought, Bri, on how you can utilize this feature to get your projects organized and how you can use these exports to batch process a bunch of things for websites. And I know you do you've been doing a lot of restoration stuff. So this is also good for all your restoration stuff because you can create a folder for that project and because I'm sure some of it's going to go for sharing on social media and some of it you're going to be, maybe printing to put up on your wall or whatever. So this is a perfect project for that. Or a perfect solution for
last time we did this, I adopted your desktop method. So I have what do I got? I have a social media high res and a text high res folder.
Yep.
And and I do like that because it's easier to go in and find the print and reprint it than it is to go find it in some project folder.
Right.
And
right.
And it's good, like you say, you just clean that out from time to time if it gets too cluttered. And
That's it.
yeah, I like it.
Yep. Yep. All right, guys, that's all I got for you for today. Good
Thanks,
suggestion for tonight's class. I hope you got a lot out of it. Okay.
Thanks, Doc.
All right. Hey, Alan, can you hang out for a few minutes after?
Yep.
All right. So
All right, good night, guys.
good night, Bri. I'm gonna run the closer, and then I'm gonna chat with you real quick. So
Okay, sure.
do not go away. Where's my exit?
Thank you for watching Learning Photography with Duck. Brought to you in association with Milford Photo, your local full-service camera store. Located in downtown Milford, Connecticut, Milford Photo offers you a personalized shopping experience. From the latest camera gear to printing and framing services. And, of course, educational workshops to teach you the finer aspects of photography. Don't forget to tell them Duck sent you.